This video is the story of this very lovely, huge loaf. As I will explain, you'll see that I made this with a starter that I fed differently, but also I had to amend the process to allow for quite a warm room temperature. So keep watching to see how I made it, and I can tell you it tastes amazing and it's all worth it. This is a starter that I have fed some of my star with some wholemeal flour and some toasted spent grains. So these are grains that have been used in the process of making beer. They've been dried out and toasted and sent to me by a very lovely lady. So I've mixed them up with a portion of my star and some wholemeal flour to see what she does as the base for my dough. So I'm now going to build my dough. I've got my water, my flour, my salt all ready to go to put it together. First thing I do is add the water to my starter. So you can see, lovely. When you add water to the toasted malted grains, you get a lovely smell. So starter and water, then I'm going to add the flour and the salt and start to mix it. Flour and salt have been added. I use Himalayan pink salt just because it's pretty. Any table salt will do. And I've used strong Canadian white bread flour. I start with a spoon, starting to mix it. I'm going to mix it a bit more and then go in with my hands just to squeeze it through. Then I'll leave it nice and ragged with a shower cap over the top. Here's my dough, nicely mixed. A few squidges with my hands, lovely and ragged. Just going to leave it like that for an hour or so, then come back to start working with it. This is the same bowl of dough, about an hour later. It's already starting to puff up a bit. And what I'm going to do now is perform the first set of pulls and folds on her. This is when it's at its most stickiest, so it might take a bit more handling. And then after that, they'll take a lot less time and effort. But even so, even this bit will only take a couple of minutes. Here it is, 2 minutes later. Pulled it and folded and worked all the way around. This one's still quite sticky, so I'm going to put shower cap back on. I'm going to do some more work with her in an hour or so, or whenever I fancy, really. I don't believe in the sourdough dictating to me. I decide when the sourdough needs work on. This is the dough an hour later. So it's loosened up and spread back out. So I'm going to perform more pulls and folds, which you'll be able to see in lots of my other videos, to keep building up the structure in the dough and work out the flour, give the starter a good workout to create that lovely strong dough. Here we are, 30 seconds of work just to pull it together. Already the dough is a lot less sticky. And she's coming into a ball. Next time she'll get even firmer. So I'm going to leave her again for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever works for me, and then do it all again. Coming together nicely. Again, the dough has rested, and as you can see, it's grown even in between the pulls and folds. It's quite warm here today, so the kitchen has been up to about 22 degrees centigrade, which is why this is moving so quickly. So I'm going to pull it together and just do the same again that I've already done a couple of times. Here it is all pulled together. You can see the afternoon sun moving around. It's a lovely bouncy dough, already active. So I will do this 2 more times before I leave it overnight. This dough has now been proving for several hours since the last pulls and folds. And as you will see, it's filling the bowl. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to pull it into the banneton and put it into the banneton in the fridge overnight and then bake it tomorrow. So this is utilising one of the other timetables that I've got on my website for if you're dealing with higher temperatures. Because I started this one earlier in the day and it's been about 23-24 degrees in my kitchen, if I now left this overnight as well, it would overproof. So this one is now going to go into the fridge. Hopefully you can see as I handle this how big and bouncy it is. I mean, it's so alive and so lively. I literally am just going to pull it into a lovely loose ball to be able to place into the banneton. Sorry, single hand filming. Look at that. A handful of textured, bubbly, lovely dough. Just going to gently place it into the banneton, and it's filling the banneton already. So what that will do overnight is just firm it up, ready to bake in the morning. This is a very, very happy dough. Here she is in the banneton. It's really, really lively. Doesn't matter what I do, it actually resists being pulled into any smaller ball. So I'm just going to layer a rice flour over the top so that she doesn't stick to the parchment paper when I bake her. She's really, really happy. So let's hope this bakes well in the morning. So this is now the next morning. This is the dough in the banneton, and as you can see, it's virtually bursting out of the banneton. So it's been in the fridge for 14 hours. It's time to turn it out, score it and bake. Here it is, scored, ready to bake. It's huge. It's already filling the pan, growing out of it, so time to get it into the oven and see what happens. So here's my loaf, my lovely golden loaf, fresh from the oven, already starting to sing. So that's what it's all for. She went into a cold start oven, so the cold dough direct from the fridge into a cold pan, into a cold oven. Then turn the oven on up to 220 degrees centigrade, fan or 240 non-fan, and baked for 55 minutes with the lid on for the whole time. And there she is. It's all worth it. Here is the crumb of the baked loaf. You can see the grain all the way through it. It's lovely and light, lovely light crumb with a lovely crust and a very happy bake. There we go. Happy baking.